Changes. Part 1, Chapter 1. AC was feeling angry with herself. She had no business driving all the way to the offices of Linga whatever. The car, of course, stalled more than once on the way. And of course, all the other drivers were unsympathetic. They blew their horns, and some taxi drivers shouted the usual obscenities about women drivers. In spite of how strongly she felt about it, why couldn't she ever prevent her colleagues from assuming that anytime the office secretary was away, she could do the job? And better still, why couldn't she prevent herself from falling into that trap? Can I help you? She was a bit startled. After she had parked her car, she entered an open office. She had been quite surprised to find herself in an empty office. She had consulted a watch and learned that, in fact, it was only past 5 o'clock in the evening, so she was wondering how the office had come to be open, as well as silently scolding herself when the voice spoke. She looked up into a very handsome face. Its owner knew it was handsome too, plus one or two other flattering facts about himself. But AC was not in the mood or be charmed by self-consciously charming men. I'm from the Department of Urban Statistics, she began, trying not to let her irritation show. Two of my colleagues and I are attending a conference in Lusaka on Thursday. She continued, I understand that, normally, this agency handles all travel arrangements for our office, but our secretary reported sick this morning, and since we don't know when she'll be well enough to return to work, they thought maybe I could come and sort things out. But there is nothing tragic about this, is there? He wanted to ask. However, aloud, he asked her to follow him to his office. Inside, AC felt the coolness of the air conditioning immediately and couldn't help reacting to it. Please sit down, said the man, indicating a chair from a group of rather plushed and low office furniture in the center of the room. She was aware of feeling grateful that he had not asked her to sit by his rather imposing desk. The chair by the desk looked high and not so comfortable. She sat down, sighing audibly with relief. He eased himself into the armchair opposite her. Then he jumped up again. Forgive me, he virtually drawled. I'm Ali Kunde, and the managing director of Linga. I mean, this agency. Please, can I have the pleasure of knowing to whom I'm speaking? It was Ace's turn to feel apologetic. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't introduce myself. My name is Ace Seishi. They shook hands, still standing. Ali asked AC if we could get her anything to drink. She was almost tempted to ask for water, at least, but she didn't. She was thinking that since she was too late for the trip to be useful in any way, why not just get out of that office as quickly as she could and get home before dark? She said as much to Ali, who was somewhat disappointed, but didn't think he should press the invitation. May I sit down? He asked AC, who thought the request was so odd. She burst out laughing. Why is that funny? He asked, genuinely perplexed. It is your office, and quite obviously your chair. Why ask me if you might sit in it? Well, you see, he began to explain, and then changed his mind. One area of communication that always made him feel sad were these walls which the different colonial experiences seemed to have erected between the different groups of Africans, especially when he hit them in relation to women. Already seated, he said rather lamely, never mind. But about what you were saying, do you know whether your secretary had already supplied my people with any specific information, like the day you will want to travel and when you will likely come back? Oh, yes. I believe she must have sent in everything. I just thought I should come and check on the tickets and flight bookings. AC was talking, but she had a distinct feeling that Ali was not really listening. Alas, madam, don't worry about anything. They will do everything. My people, everything will be ready. Prompt for your journey, I promise. What I don't know is which one of them is handling the arrangement for you and your colleagues. But it will be okay. His voice was virtually luring her to sleep. When she got up to leave, saying that, in that case, she better be going, she felt as if she was waking from a trance. It was unbelievable. Meanwhile, Ali was not finished with her yet. He too had already jumped up. In that case, let me finish locking up this office and drop you where you're going, please. It will be a pleasure. You are very kind, Mr. M. Kunde, but actually, I came in my car. AC became aware that something quite new and interesting was trying to make itself felt in that room that early evening. Late in the month of June, she was not quite sure she wanted to welcome it or even identify it. Therefore, since she knew silences sometimes have a way of screaming strange messages, she spoke to fill the air with words. They knew that art well who trade in food. Thus, pad up where resources are scared, or just a cool profit. Grains for sausages, some worms for burgers, more leaves for kinky. You see, AC went on. My car is here, except that it isn't too good. In fact, I stopped a couple of times on the road. But, said Ali, who had been struggling to deal with a solid feeling of disappointment. In that case, leave it here and come with me in my car. I shall get it to your house for you early in the morning. What an alarm proposal! Is you were thinking? No, thank you again, Mr. Kunde. But that would just be too complicated, she said aloud. By now, they were out of his office and in the main office of the agency and business arena. They came straight out into the open, and he locked the office. Ali recognized what AC passed for a car, and a tiny smile came playing around his lips. He killed the comment, and in any case, AC was talking with an extended hand. Bye, Mr. Kunde. Thank you very much, and I hope your people will get in touch. Then she was opening the door of the car, sitting before the wheel, pulling it into motion, and with the old machine coughing like some asthmatic, she was gone. Ali, who was completely fascinated with the sheer swiftness of her performance, caught himself saying, But of course, but of course. Then there was really nothing else for him to do but get himself home. This was a Friday evening. As a strictly brought up Muslim who had actually gone to the mosque earlier in the afternoon, there was only one way to interpret his encounter with this fascinating woman, a gift from Allah. So he should not let himself feel too bad about the way the encounter had ended. If it was his will, things will right themselves in the end. At that moment, the southern sky had dripped by massive lightning, followed by a heavy bomb of thunder, and he got into his solid and luxurious vehicle. Ali had only one fear, that the threatening storm might sweep away the woman and the car away. They both looked so frail.